Hey, well, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a weird one. I don't know if it's gonna make sense to people. I don't know if it's just incoherent ramblings, but I got this idea for a video and I decided, well, I want to get my thoughts out. And if you talk to anybody about this in real life, they're gonna look at you like you're a nut. So, and I know I said I would film a video on the movie The Sessions. Don't worry, I have not forgotten about that. I need to make the time to watch the movie again since it's been like a year since I watched it and I want it to be fresh in my memory so that it can really be the best video and that I don't provide false information. So, this video that I'm making today, I still don't know the title. We'll see. But I got this idea from actually, I was inspired by a lot of different things. 1 second, I'm taking my Apple Watch off because it keeps coming out. Okay, focus, Erica. But I got the idea for this video from a lot of different things. The TikTok ban, from actually a song by Father John Misty called Mental Health. And it's also just something that I've kind of been thinking about for a while. And the idea is the oxymoron of real or authentic influencers. I want to make it very clear here that this is not a hate video. I'm not calling people fake or phony, but I'm more so I want to interrogate the idea of, well, what it means to be real or to be your true self in front of an audience. And this encompasses a lot of topics that are probably beyond me, like the concept of the panopticon, which, if you don't know, it's this idea for a prison that's kind of like circular, and the guard sits in this like circular tower thing in the middle, but the prisoners can't see the guard. Like it's made so they can't see if the guard is watching them. And the idea is, if you never know when you're being watched, you feel like you're always being watched, or you're scared that you're always being watched. And to some degree, I think that might be true, but in to other degrees of like, well, if people don't know they're being watched, sometimes they assume they're not being watched. They're like, well, are people actually watching me? Probably not. And then they just do whatever they want. But anyway, my critique of that is for a different day. This isn't really about the panopticon, but in the song Mental Health, the first lines are, in the panopticon, they never turn the cameras on. The guards and narcs went home. They do a fine job on their own. And it's this idea, I think, Father John Misty is alluding to how social media has made us all kind of like rebel one another. Like, you don't really need people to normally like watch you if everybody's watching you, and I have mixed feelings about that sentiment as well. But I think it's an interesting sentiment, and that is what gave me the idea for this video. And I think that influencers willingly put themselves under surveillance, which is a really interesting concept to me. They put themselves under this surveillance and scrutiny in order to either make money or become famous or gain power or just, I guess, feel better about themselves. I don't really know the psychology behind influencing, but it's very interesting that people willingly put themselves under this surveillance. I say as I make a video and post it on the internet. I see the irony in this video. Everything is very meta these days. Does I sound crazy? But also I want to talk about this idea of curated imperfection, and this is not something I made up. This is something people have talked about for a long time, is that influencers, particularly those who brand themselves as real or authentic, will show flaws or things that they perceive as flaws to their audience for the sake of being relatable or real. But the thing is nobody is going to willingly show the deepest, darkest parts of them that they're ashamed of. And I'm not saying they should, trust me, because I do think people still deserve to have a part of themselves that's private. Like, I'm not saying influencers should show us every part of themselves. But what I am saying is these authentic influencers, like, they're not actually showing you their deepest fears. They're not actually being super vulnerable. And I'm talking particularly about, like, the mid-sized body positive influencers that just show, like, rolls on their stomach. That's not really being vulnerable, if we're honest. Like, yeah, in our society, it's not really considered ideal to have rolls on your stomach, but at the same time, like, I'm sure even if you're insecure about that insecurity is probably covering up a deeper insecurity. That's just my thought, though. I might be way off base here. And I think no matter what, whether an influencer is trying to be like an authentic influencer or like a mental health influencer, no matter what they're, even if they're not selling a product, they're selling an image and a lifestyle. For instance, not for instance, influencers that appear more real and more down to earth and have maybe they look more like us than the idea of the perfect influencer. Oh, sorry, my little TV ring light shut off for a second. No, I don't want to watch an ad. But so sorry about that. But we have this, when we think of influencers, a lot of times we think about like the perfect ones that always have their makeup on and their hair done great and they have the perfect body, whatever that means. But so when we have these more real influencers that kind of resemble the average person, maybe they're not like a size 2, maybe they don't always wear makeup, maybe they're kind of awkward, then we kind of feel like that's more something we can achieve, whereas we're never gonna achieve that idea of perfection, because even the people that seem to be perfect, they're not actually like that in real life at all. But so my point here is that like these real influencers seem like their lifestyle or their body or their personality seems a lot more achievable to us than the perfect influencers. And that's why a lot of people are attracted to, and when I say attracted, I don't mean like sexually or romantic. I mean why people follow them. They follow them because that feels more achievable to them than this unachievable perfection. But they're still selling this idea. They're still selling this image, this lifestyle that probably isn't even necessarily real. And actually last summer I went on a vacation with a bunch of influencers. It was a terrible vacation. I'm not really gonna get into the personal stuff because I'm not here to start drama, but I will say I'm never going on an influencer trip again, because a lot of these women that I was with, they would like order food at a restaurant that maybe they can't tolerate gluten, but they would order something with gluten because it looked better in pictures, and then they wouldn't actually eat what they ordered. And I think to me that solidified, because a lot of these influencers were like the body positive influencers and the real influencers that talked about mental health. But that solidified to me that they weren't actually being real. To order a type of food just to take a picture and post it online, that I was like, what? People actually do that? Like, you always see in like movies that are making fun of influencers, you always see that happening. But at least me, I was like, well, that's not real. Nobody would actually be faking all these things, but apparently. But I think to me that shows that they are just making things for their Instagram feed or TikTok. They're not actually just living their life. And part of why that was a bad vacation was I felt like I couldn't just enjoy the vacation. They wanted to make content out of everything, and I do understand that some brands were giving us free stuff, and I understand that with that comes an expectation that you're gonna post about that brand. But at the same time, I wasn't there for that. I was there to have fun, and I thought these people were my friends, and they turned out not to be. But that's a story for another day that I probably will never publicly speak about, because it's just not a story I want to publicly speak about, and that's okay. I do have a right to privacy, just like these authentic influencers that don't tell you everything going on in their life, because they don't have to, and they're people at the end of the day. And I think that is the crux of this video. Now, where does this all tie into the TikTok ban? Well, and I know, since there's so much going on in the world right now, so much going on just in this country, and trust me, I'm overwhelmed by it too. But a few weeks ago now, there was a day where TikTok was banned, and then it got unbanned, and it all felt very fake and very planned, and probably because it was. Not gonna really go into that, but yeah. But during that period where they were threatening to ban TikTok, a bunch of TikTokers were making videos saying the truth and being like, yeah, I faked this my entire career. And people were shocked by this. And also, I saw a lot of commentary channels being like, yeah, like a lot of influencers aren't real. And that really got me thinking, well, no influencers are really real, because no matter what they're performing for an audience. Like, yeah, they may not be an actor on a TV show, but I do feel like no matter what, we all have this public persona that we show online. And it may not be our real selves, and that's not to call people fake, but I thought most people knew that influencers had this persona and that it wasn't necessarily how they are in their personal life. But it seems like even like commentary channels that I've looked up to, and I'm not criticizing them or being like, oh, you're wrong or you're naive. There's that a lot of commentary channels that I've really enjoyed were posting that and being like, I can't believe these influencers and they're all just trying to sell products. And I'm like, yeah, they're all just trying to sell products. Did you really just figure that out now? And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I realized a lot of people don't realize that most influencers are just trying to sell you something, even if they're not actually selling a product. They may be selling an idea or a lifestyle or this image. And then, to me, there's no such thing as being real for an audience, because social media is a new form of performance art, which may sound ridiculous because you're like, okay, an influencer putting on lipstick is not a Shakespeare play. And yeah, that's true. It may not be like the pinnacle of performance art, but it's a new type in this digital age, and that's why I think we need to really talk about this more, because it's kind of new territory, and it seems like nobody knows like how to feel about it. And I don't know how to feel about it, and I'm not telling people how they should feel about it, but I'm more so trying to make sense of it, and hopefully this video made some sort of sense of it. And lastly, the need to look effortless takes a lot of effort. When I was on that trip last year, in order to get like the candid photo, the women I was with, they would take like hundreds, and I mean hundreds of photos. So yeah, it may look candid where they're laughing and they're not perfectly posed, but trust me, they had their ring light, they had their tripod, and they took lots and lots of pictures just to get that perfect candid shot. This is not to shame these influencers, but more to put things into perspective and also make people think, like, do you agree that people can be truly authentic influencers? Because if you think about it, these authentic influencers may talk about their anxiety or the rolls on their stomach, but they may not talk about how their deepest fears, that they're a bad person. And I'm not saying they are bad people, they're probably not, but I think a lot of people do have those deeper fears that they don't talk about. And I'm not necessarily saying we should be sharing that on the internet, because I do think there is a such thing as oversharing, and that's something else we have to contend with and navigate in the digital age. I know this video was all over the place. I really know it is. And believe it or not, I had notes for this. That's why I kept looking down at my notebook. But it's still not really a fully fleshed out idea. And at some point I want to come back to this idea and possibly like write a screenplay, like kind of untangling this whole mess, because I find it really interesting. I actually do. And I've been lacking the motivation to sit down and film a video. I also lost my voice last week, so I couldn't film then. You didn't want me to do a video then, because you would not be able to hear a word I said, because I couldn't really talk much at all. I tried to talk in like one word sentences because it was rough. Anyway, I hope you're doing okay during these tumultuous times. I know. Also, something that I think at some point I'll talk about is this idea of taking care of your mental health when the world around you is actively falling apart is a really weird thing. And it's something, my ring light came off again. No, go away. Sorry, but it's something that I deal with a lot. I'm like, the world is falling apart and I'm writing in my stupid little journal or going on my stupid little mental health walk or my stupid little deep breathing exercises or grounding exercises. And I think that's, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that's another thing Father John Misty's song Mental Health is about, is this idea of, in the song, he literally says, maybe we're all far too well. And that line really resonates with me, because I feel like part of why my mental health is so poor is because I'm living in this world that's not really designed to make me feel good. It's designed to make me feel like shit, so I buy more products or do that. And yeah, I could get into a whole rant on that, but I won't, because I won't. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing alright. As alright as you can be right now. But thank you for watching. I really do appreciate all of the people that watch, because sometimes you just need to go on a incoherent rant or ramble on the internet, and it's nice that some people watch it and some people find it interesting, but thank you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.